Hey y'all, I'm Afia and let's chat. And this chat today is no ordinary chat. In fact, you could even say that it is the Super Bowl of chats because today we're going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance on February 9th, 2025. And I am so excited. Honestly, I don't know about y'all, but I feel so lucky to be able to be alive and witness one of the most legendary 2 year runs in all of human history. And of course, I'm talking about Kendrick Lamar completely dominating the airwaves in 2024. TikTok, the streets, parties, everything. That song was everywhere. And it had such an organic rise, and the people loved it and responded to it so beautifully. So I'm so proud and just so happy. And again, just so blessed to be able to see that in real time. I feel like just looking back at music history, like this is going to be like one of the biggest times to really reflect on. So, yeah. And I think really his performance at the halftime show, I've been looking forward to it personally since it got announced. Like, it felt perfect. It felt fitting. It felt like it's another year that's going to be his year. And I'm excited for him to just innovate and create and show the world that he does have more to offer, even though he already gave so much in 2024. So, yeah, I'm really excited. So, this video is just going to be going over my top 5 predictions for what I really either hope to see or want to see or expect to see during the halftime show. And my sources are honestly, what are my sources? My sources are my mind and my heart and my love of music and my love of Kendrick's discography. And just the art that he creates. Like everything he does has so much meaning and depth. And I think this performance will be no different. He is so detail oriented. I think every detail will be so finely tuned and planned out. He's probably been planning this for years. Like he's probably had this like the first drafts like in planning before he even got announced. I feel like he's so intentional and he has such good like foresight for what's going to happen and how he wants to present his art that I think this is going to really shift the culture in a really positive direction and just be excellent inspiration for creatives everywhere, no matter what they do, like singing, rapping, dancing, visual art, like lighting, like anything. I feel like any creative person is probably going to be excited by what he's going to put forth just based on what he's done already. All right, so I got my notes ready. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my iPad. I have my notes written down so I don't forget anything. I got my water ready because sometimes my throat be getting dry and I don't want this video to stop. So I'm prepared. I hope you're ready to get your water ready too. We got to stay hydrated out here. And without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So my very first prediction slash expectation slash hope is something that everybody is talking about. Of course, that he might bring out SZA, and I really hope that he does. But not only SZA, I hope that he brings out Doechii. And I think that this is actually pretty likely. A, because he already gave Doechii her flowers. He said that she was one of the hardest. I think he said she was actually the hardest rapper out right now. Like, not even hardest female rapper, just hardest rapper. And that, coming from anybody, is huge. But especially from somebody like Kendrick, who's so detail oriented, who really like is a student of the game and just is so dedicated towards this craft, that is huge. That was a really big cosign for Doechii. And she deserved every word of it because she has been taking over 2024. Her performances, I think it was with the Tonight Show, that was so beautifully done, like just so artistically inclined, so intentional, so much depth to it. Her Tiny Desk concert was also amazing. She's Grammy nominated at this point. Yeah, she had a really great year and she really pops off. So kudos to Doechii. I think that she definitely would be a great addition. She performed at Camp Flog Gnaw too. I just remember that. She performed with Tyler because she also had a feature on his album. So she's been just taking over. Like her name has been growing. Her video for Denial is a River was phenomenal. And if you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. It was just such good like throwback vibes, very artistic. So TDE is really doing his thing. I know Kendrick is not technically a part of it now still, but he's cool with them. And I feel like as a collective, they really are moving. So just again with the whole like TDE theme, I think SZA and Doechii will just really just bring a special element to it and enhance it in a really beautiful way. I think, I don't know, does Kendrick have a collab song with Doechii yet? Please let me know in the comments below. I actually don't know if they have a song together, but I know that Kendrick has collabed with SZA many times. I love all their collaborations, and I think if they do join each other on stage for this performance, it will be a movie. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it would also be a great move for him because I feel like he and SZA have intersectional fan bases, but not necessarily the same fan base. So he can, not saying that the Super Bowl like needs more viewers. It's like one of the most viewed events every single year, especially in America. But I think it would just be a little bit more of a crowd pleaser if he did bring in SZA like a little bit, maybe one song, maybe one verse. Like I don't want it to be the SZA show. I feel like she should have her own, Super Bowl in the future. But I do think bringing SZA on stage would be a crowd pleaser moment, and I really hope that happens. And of course, Doechii, I think she deserves it so much. She doesn't have as big of a star as SZA. Like SZA's like album, I think it's still like on the charts. Like it was released years ago. Of course, she had like the update with Lana, but like that album was incredible and it's so well loved by fans. So yeah, I think both of them would be great additions. SZA's like more of a legacy act, and Doechii brings something new. So I think both of them together, especially with Kendrick Lamar's genius, I think it would just really, that would be excellent. I would love to watch that. Oh, and also, I don't know how likely this is, but I love Schoolboy Q. My favorite song by him is "Looks Awesome." But if he could make an appearance, that would also be great. That would be such a good TDE moment. And then this is maybe a little bit less realistic, but I also do love this artist. I know that many people like, especially many like really, really, really sophisticated top rappers, love this artist. Ab-Soul would be a great addition as well. I don't know how realistic that is. I feel like SZA and Doechii are kind of like more buzzing like in the media, and I feel like they will be more I don't know. I thought they would be more like crowd pleaser type additions like to the set, but Schoolboy Q and Ab-Soul would also be great additions. I don't know how likely that is, but I would also love to see that. All right, y'all. So the second thing that I would expect to see slash hope to see slash really, really, really like to see is one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar songs, which is Backseat Freestyle. I mean, the beat itself is just so iconic, so incredible. I know it's another fan favorite Kendrick Lamar song as well, so I feel like the crowd would go crazy. Even if it's just like a mashup or like an interpolation of that beat, I really like, oh my gosh. I would love to see some aspect of Backseat Freestyle integrated into the set. Like, I think his OG fans will really love that. I also really want to see "Sing of Me, I'm Dying of Thirst." That song is such a crowd pleaser as well. It's kind of more of like a deep cut. It's hard to like really get the crowd, going crazy with a song that's that introspective and that powerful. But if anybody could pull it off, I know that it is Kendrick Lamar, and I feel like the way he's going to collaborate with like the composers and the arrangers and choreographers, set designers, I could see that being integrated in a way that's just still keeps the energy up, but it's also just very deeply touching. So I would love to see either of those songs integrated into them. I think a lot of other fans would like to see that as well. That being said, if he's launching a new album, he could just dedicate the whole set to that new album. You really never know. But I would love to see like we either those two songs or other like great throwbacks or other great crowd pleasers just like integrated into the set. That would be phenomenal, and I think the crowd would go crazy. I would love to just see like him just journey through his discography in like the best way possible, like all the different like themes and like personas. Like he has so many characters and like I wouldn't say alter egos, but just like I guess different perspectives that he embodies. And like I feel like he's such a great storytelling artist that if he really, I guess, yeah, told his story on stage in a way that like follows with his albums, I think that would be incredible to witness, especially for his fans who like love him so much because of his excellent storytelling. So I hope that he does embrace that. I hope he does a lot of really powerful and really great throwbacks like from his discography. But I hope he also balances it out with something new, something fresh, something that the fans can look forward to that we haven't seen before. So I think he's going to do a great job at balancing that. All right. So the third thing that I really, really, really want to see at this halftime show by Kendrick Lamar, and mind you, this is a deep cut. This might be a hot take, but I don't care. I'm putting it out there because okay, I'll give you my reasoning for it. I think that it's not impossible, but it might not be the first thing that you would think. And this is I hope that Kendrick Lamar brings out D'Angelo. And if you don't know who D'Angelo is, then that's why I hope that he brings out D'Angelo. D'Angelo is a legend, and I would actually say that D'Angelo is the Kendrick Lamar of R&B. Yeah, let that simmer. I think he's the Kendrick Lamar of R&B for three reasons. The first reason is that he is a student of the game. The same way that Kendrick Lamar really studied all of his OGs, he did his research. He looked at the history of hip hop, the regional differences of it, like the magic of it, the science of it, the art of it, like the spiritual dimension of it, how it relates to like biblical themes and like internal evolution, introspection, like really studying like the craft of rhyming, like the ways of like bringing in different references and like having like two or three different meanings for each bar. Like he went to school, like he really did his homework, and I don't know how many of these I'm going to use, but he did his research on what it means to be not just a popular rapper, but to be a powerful rapper and to really use his words to inspire people and create change and just mold the world into something new and different and exciting. Like he is a student of the game. And if you know D'Angelo, before he made his first like debut album, I guess no, when he did Brown Sugar, he studied as well. But before he made Voodoo, he went to school. Like he and Questlove really like studied all the greats. Like they studied like James Brown, Prince, like amazing legends from like soul, from like R&B, every genre that really relates to that legacy of R&B. And they just really dug deep and saw like what evoked like the greatest emotional qualities, like what really was going to give the most authentic sound, from instrumentation to like lyricism, like melodies, harmonies. Like he went to school and he studied his craft and he really learned. So I feel like he and Kendrick are very similar in that way of just having a really deep respect of and love for music, not just for how it sounds, but for how it feels and what it can do for people, you know, the change it can create. So I feel like that's like the first reason. The second reason is that they don't like fame, but they do like to be to themselves and they do like to create. And when they do step out, they step out in a major way. Like they're gonna win awards. They're going to get the people talking about them. Like they're gonna like impact people's lives. Like get them back in touch with themselves. Make people cry. Make people laugh. Make people smile. Bring people together. Most importantly, I feel like both Kendrick Lamar and D'Angelo have that power to, you know, tap into their introspection and be alone and really sit with their love of music and study and absorb the world around them. And then almost like, you know, a plant or like a tree, like take in all of that and just absorb everything that's around them, the culture, like what's happening in society, what they're learning, just absorb it and just use it to grow and elevate and just produce like oxygen for people. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're both a bit reclusive, but when they do step out, like no one can stop talking about it, you know? So I feel like that's like the second reason. And the third reason is that they are legends in the field and they have undoubtedly changed their genres for the better. Like they've inspired so many different artists, they've left a mark on their respective genres that can never be erased. And I think they just prompted so much innovation while also drawing so deeply on the past. You know what I mean? So laying out a new road and a new path for their genres, but also very much still respecting what created that foundation in the first place. They're great artists. And I think they really embody what it means to innovate and create artistry in a way that is still very respectful to the people who came before. And just understanding it's not just music, it's like the lifeblood of so many different people and culture and the way that it really interacts with people's minds and hearts. You know what I mean? So having like a deep reverence for the genre and for the art, but also being able to innovate in a way that gives them a legendary status. So that's why I think that D'Angelo is the Kendrick Lamar of R&B. But why I think that he is going to be featured in this halftime show, or why I really hope that he is. First of all, Raphael Sadiq, who is one of D'Angelo's longtime collaborators, did say last year that D'Angelo was working on new music. And if you remember from his last album, which was, I think, literally a decade ago, like I said, he really takes his time and just absorbs and like sits and creates, and then he, you know, releases. So it's been a decade, I think over a decade at this point, since he last dropped. But when he did drop, it was in response to social change. Like his music was just so in touch with what the people were thinking and feeling that it was just so it was almost like in tune with the heartbeat of like the nation. So I feel like given everything that has happened recently and given what Kendrick has been fighting for and given what his message has been and what his platform has been, I think it probably really deeply resonates with something that D'Angelo might be thinking of and creating. I think there's such a natural synergy there, and I think that they probably recognize in each other that there is, I guess, a shared interest in preserving the integrity of different art forms, you know, especially Black art forms and especially Black American art forms. I think that R&B and rap are so similar in that they started off with such a heart and such a soul. I think throughout time, you know, as they got more popular and they got more, I guess, commodified, they really lost a lot of those really important roots of, really being a voice for people and a way to express yourself and a form of catharsis. And I feel like both D'Angelo and Kendrick recognize that these are two crucial forms of art, like not just music, but just literally art for people like throughout the world. And I think they know that we're at a crucial point with both art forms where if we don't treat them with care and if we don't protect their legacy and if we don't protect their roots, they really can be lost, and they can be lost in a way that we'll never be able to recover. So I think they have a shared motive, I think, in what they really like to do and how much they love, their crafts. And I think that natural synergy could lay the foundation for a collaboration, hopefully on whatever projects they both release next. But I hope definitely at least on the Super Bowl stage. Another reason is that this type of collaboration is very, very typical of both of them. Kendrick loves to perform with R&B singers, and D'Angelo loves to collaborate with rappers. So I think this is so natural. I think another reason is that people in general are just yearning for real music, and I think both artists know that this is a desire of people all across the world. They're tuned into the pulse of what people want and what people are craving and desiring, and I think they know that an artist like D'Angelo, who is so well loved but so secretive because he really just is so attached to authenticity and preserving what's true and what's real. I think he would love to bring another artist like that out. And I think also Kendrick is very much an artist who lifts as he climbs. And I think that giving somebody like D'Angelo a platform in 2025, like the Super Bowl halftime show, that would be the most. I think that's very in tune with what Kendrick does. Giving people who really deserve it, like the platforms that would best advance their messages. So I think if D'Angelo is going to release in 2025, there could be no better way to announce that than at the Super Bowl halftime show. And I feel like Kendrick, being a man of the people who just really cares about good art, I think that's very much up his alley, to invite D'Angelo on stage. And finally, Kendrick loves to produce rare, exclusive, and unique art, like things that not what the people want to hear, but what they need to hear. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, what they want to hear as well, but he's looking to the future. He's looking to what do you need to hear to be your best self? And I feel like there's nothing more exclusive, or rare, or necessary than a D'Angelo collab in 2025. I think that's like, if you're really into music, D'Angelo is like one of the greats. Like he's one of like he's a living legend. Like he has created so much and contributed so much, I guess, novelty, innovation, and artistry to the musical landscape, not just in the US but internationally. Like that is like a gold standard collaboration, and Kendrick definitely knows that. So I definitely think that there is a possibility. It's probably not at the top of people's minds, but for me, when I heard that D'Angelo was releasing something, I immediately thought, what if he's going to, debut at least the collaboration with Kendrick, like at his Super Bowl performance? And again, none of this is confirmed at all. It's just me being a fan of both artists and just kind of imagining what, I don't know, imagining what I would want. Honestly, I would love that. I hope it happens. So yeah, we'll see. And if not Super Bowl, I do hope that he does get an excellent worldwide platform to debut his new music for 2025, because D'Angelo is just such a deserving artist. And I do hope that even if it's not now, I hope that he does consider collaborating with Kendrick Lamar, because I can't even imagine what that song would sound like. That would probably be incredible. And it would be a great East Coast meets West Coast slash, down south collaboration too. So yeah, that would be great. I really want to see that. So yeah, this might be wishful thinking, or it might be a very accurate prediction. Who knows? Like, let me know down below. What are the possibilities that D'Angelo's coming out for the Super Bowl? I hope they're very high. All right, y'all. My fourth hope slash prediction slash expectation for Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show 2025 is Krumping. And yes, you might think, oh, this is super, like, of course he's gonna bring Krumping out on stage. It's not, of course he's gonna bring Krumping out on stage, because this is the Super Bowl halftime show. And knowing Kendrick, he likes to do something that's very unique for his performances. And he has already done a lot of Krumping, and not he himself, but he's already integrated a lot of like Krumping, performances into his, previous, shows and music videos. But I think that he will still bring some Krumpers out. I think that he definitely will. I think he's West Coast down. I think he's going to represent. That being said, I don't think that it's going to be a West Coast tribute. I feel like the Super Bowl performance with Dr. Dre was a love letter to the West Coast, and Kendrick came out and represented for that, of course. That was so beautiful and so inspiring and special. But Kendrick likes to innovate. He's very much a free thinker, and he's someone who really wants to put the newest, most cutting edge artistry out there at all times. So, because the West Coast tribute has kind of already been done for the Super Bowl halftime show, I don't think that he's going to redo it. I think he's going to integrate elements of the West Coast, but I think he's going to put a very unique spin on it that's going to make it not only nationally united, but also global, like globally inspired. I think before he was thinking about, pride and culture and belonging, but I think that looking to 2025, I think he's going to be thinking more about, I guess, unity and collective inspiration and like collective growth. So I think that's going to be more of the theme. We're thinking about how we are as individuals and how we are, when we reach our highest potential. So I think it will be a sprinkle of West Coast. I think it's going to, of course, like everything that he does is informed by West Coast culture, and that can never be taken away from him or never be extricated from his music. That being said, I think he's going to bring something new to the table and add on to that West Coast culture. I'm excited to see what he does. I cannot predict what he's going to do. And I love that about him as an artist. Like, you never know what he's going to do. And finally, my fifth prediction for Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show is a phenomenal, amazing, ultra artistic, cutting edge, avant garde stage. Although I I don't think anyone can predict what the stage is going to look like. Like, I think it's going to be something like we've never seen before, something that just blows our minds. Like, he might come down from the sky, he might come from underground. I don't. I love that I can't predict what the stage is going to look like, but I do know that it's going to be extremely innovative because he loves that type of visual design. I feel like Kendrick doesn't get enough credit for how much like visual design he does put into his music. I feel like in many ways he is very much a visual based artist. Like, he puts so much love and effort into his music videos, and they complement his messages so